Hello, I am Jody Wolf. You're watching EXPOZ. Today is September 23, 2011, and 11:07 p.m. Birmingham, Alabama. Topic: I have a new source of information on high fuel mileage for your car. Extremely high fuel mileage. And I'm going to tell you the story about it. It may take two blogs, but in the end, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And it's going to take some tinkering, but somebody with a general knowledge should be able to take care of something like that. All right. Back in 1948, the Modesto Bee newspaper in California, a man came to an airfield one day, and he was driving a 1946 Buick Roadmaster. Now, if you remember these things, which you don't, they weighed as much as an army tank. This car weighed over 2 tons, over 4,000 pounds. He had invented a carburetor that was water injected and could get this, 100 miles per gallon in this over 2-ton pound car. Shell Oil Company bought this patent, which made this man a millionaire. And Shell also told him, you can keep the one in your car, but you're not allowed to build any more. And this is typically the way, somebody buy your patent, that's it. You no longer own any part of it, and you can't build anymore. So let me move on. The Buick was, again, heavy, and you can imagine today what the mileage would be on a car, half the weight. Back then, just the way he had it, on today's car, you're talking about an easy 125 miles per gallon. And then being many years later, like today, the mileage could very well be much higher than that. And when I tell you how much higher, it's going to blow your mind. However, the oil company knew to install such a piece of equipment on cars then, well, you guessed it, their oil sales would be nil, nada. So what do? They buried it so deep that no one has been able to find it, even registered as a patent. It's unable to be found. Now, it's been 55 years, and there has not been one single word of this invention from this oil company, and I'm going to call it quickly. The name be Shell. I think I said it already. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Shell Oil Company bought it. So there has been a legend for a long time of amazing gas mileage on cars, but none seem to ever come to light. And I'm sure someone somewhere witnessed this carburetor, and yes, they did. However, it's sad that no one made the notes. Well, almost no one. K.R. Kunde wrote the Modesto News asking, where is this invention that he had himself witnessed back in 1948? Now, the Buick Roadmaster weighed 4,465 pounds, and today's Hummer H3 curb weight is 4,700 pounds. Can you imagine the Hummer getting between 90 and 110 miles per gallon in 2011? I'm sure you know as well as I know, Shell Oil buried this technology because people have searched for this information, and Shell hid it so far away and so deep that no one could get their hands on it. In March 1944, a name or man named H.E. Crozier registered his patent, entitled it Anti-Knock or Detonation Dampening Device, a simple process to where water would be humidified and drawn into the carburation system. This would add humidified steam, but there's a catch, and I'll tell you, to fuel that would burn more slowly as far as fuel consumption, and cool down the motor and decrease the pollution that came out of the exhaust, because all the fuel would be burned because it's thinned, and it'd be burned much more slowly and much more efficiently as to the low amount of exhaust. Byproduct would be basically minute amounts of fuel and minute amounts of water. So all the fuel burnt this way. All of it would burn up. Now, Mark Brickenhoff of Fusion Design discussed this minor adaptation that would and could easily be installed on a car. So now the question is, why don't we know about these inventions? It's simple. I'll explain, so bear with me. To start with, would you call Shell oil if you had something like this? You maybe wouldn't. But the man who registered the last patent, the inventor, his son, was excited about talking with the reporters and telling them how he's going to work with Shell. But all of a sudden, no one communicated with him. It went away, and when he made repeated calls, they did not return the calls. Shell wants to sell gasoline, not water. Today, the profit in gas is at its heyday, its all-time high, because its days are numbered. And you see what Obama's doing. He's doing his best to keep America from drilling any more oil. This is why prices skyrocketed. This is why the days are numbered. So they're making everything they can make, which will probably continue to be 30 or 40 more years. But in any case, in 1977, Shell Oil admitted, Shell Oil admitted it achieved 149 miles per gallon on a 1947 Studebaker. But today, this book is out of print, and the copy on file at the Library of Congress cannot be located. Wonder why? In 2007, February, the news media contacted one of the men who worked on this project back in 1947. And this is what he said: "My name is David Blackmore, and I worked for quite some years in Shell research, and I edited the book called Fuel Economy for the Gasoline Engine." He said in 1939 he was involved in testing fuel mileage on cars, and the first was 50 miles a gallon, and later it was up to 100 miles per gallon. Now, Mr. David Blackmore lives in England, and he said, quote, "In a few years they would break," get this, I'm saying again, quote, "in a few years they would break the 1,000 mile per gallon barrier." And he went on to say, "I think it did happen in the late 70s. I'm going to cut it now, and I'll pick it up on the next, but you need to hear this. Jody Wolf, EXPOZ.